Welcome back to Cryptos Are Us. I'm George. We're all George. So, happy Saturday. Today, of course, let's talk some crypto, including this one Bitcoin chart that really surprised, I would say, shocked Elon Musk. So, what is that chart about? Let's take a look, and let's look at also some oracles out there. They have been doing quite well, especially one that launched recently. So let's talk about that as well and everything else that's going on in the world of crypto today. All right, let's do this. Welcome, guys. Overall today, some green, still Bitcoin hovering. Not a whole lot of movement this Saturday, but we did have some movement last week. Not so good in terms of price, but you got a lot of big praise from a lot of these big fund managers, including Franklin Templeton. Franklin Templeton, they have their own spot ETF, so obviously they're going to say some good stuff about it. But their CEO, Jenny Johnson, is saying that demand for Bitcoin is everywhere. Everywhere she looks, there's demand for Bitcoin. And I think right now that is true. Wall Street is loading up. And let me show you what I'm talking about in terms of loading up. But we know that the volume on these spot ETFs have been skyrocketing. BlackRock and Fidelity and others and Franklin Templeton have all been loading up. But now they're preparing for the next phase. And that is options. Options based on spot ETFs. That will make things very, very interesting. Of course, options already exist. There's only like one exchange, Durbit, that I think offers options. But now the big boys want to play options too, based on real Bitcoin, not just synthetic Bitcoin, because there are options based on futures, but now they want options based on real spot Bitcoin ETFs. So that may be coming. These guys are loading up, and this is what I'm talking about. I used to show this all the time, and I'm glad this site is updating, because overall this is showing all the ETFs in the US and around the world, the countries, the public companies, including MicroStrategy, private companies, and miners, at least the ones that have reported. Okay, like MicroStrategy is like almost up to 190,000 Bitcoin, Marathon's at 15, Tesla even at 10,000, and so forth. And you have like governments like the US government and China both own about 200,000 Bitcoin. They were seized, but they still hold it. They haven't sold it. You still got others like Mt. Gox still having 200,000. Grayscale, even though they've been selling off, they still have 581,000 Bitcoin. You go on and on. My point is this. You combine everything that you see here, just the ones that are listed, the biggest entities out there that hold Bitcoin. They hold approximately 2 million Bitcoin, more than that. And that's approximately 9.8% of 21 million. And we're not up to 21 million, just so you know. This is just taking an overall percentage of everything. But we're only at 19 point something. So honestly, just 71 entities, just 71 controls 10% of all Bitcoin out there already. Okay, this is what I'm saying. The big boys, they continue to accumulate behind the scenes. Luckily, it's slow, okay? But, man, they are buying up every single Bitcoin they can. That's why I've been telling you guys, don't sell to these guys. As good as BlackRock and Fidelity and Franklin Templeton are in terms of buying up all the Bitcoin and throwing their fund, overall, we don't want that. We don't want them to own more and more, a bigger slice of the Bitcoin pie. Bitcoin was created for the people, by the people, to create generational wealth, to even the playing field, okay? To allow a retail investor to have a chance and make substantial amount of money without being duped or without being tricked or manipulated by Wall Street, right? So you got to grab some while it's low and while you still can. Because once this number starts climbing up, I mean, everyone's cheering for MicroStrategy and Michael Saylor, right? But people don't realize that he already holds 1% of all Bitcoin in existence. That's within a very short amount of time. Yeah, think about it. MicroStrategy owns 1% of all Bitcoin in existence already. Okay? And then wait until BlackRock and Fidelity and Franklin Templeton and Van Eyck and ARK, they're all going to be loading up too. So my point is this. Even though Bitcoin may seem like it's down and it's weak and somehow the momentum went away, it's certainly that's not how the big boys think. They are accumulating by the billions seemingly every single day. See, this chart right here shows how retail thinks, the dumb money. Okay, volume transfer for short-term holders and loss to exchanges. And you can see on the very right side, massive spike. Even though my camera is covering it up, you can see that massive spike. What is that? That's all the paper hands, the retail investors that came in. They can't handle a little volatility, and they decided to sell at a loss. Remember, you don't really take a loss until you sell. You may have unrealized loss, but you don't really have realized loss until you sell. But a lot of people don't understand that. A lot of people sell when there's just a little bit of volatility. Most of you guys are not like that. You know better. You've been in this space for a long time. But every single cycle, there's always going to be people that can't take volatility. Look at this. I mean, this is how telling this is. On the right-hand side, we fell from 49,000, let's just say 49,000, our peak, to where we are, 41,000, okay? So that's about, what, 20%? Maybe a little bit less than 20%, but still, we're at 41,200. Look at going back to April of 2022 when we were falling, right? Like falling a lot more than 20%, okay? We're talking about going from 40s to 20s, 20s to 10s, right? And even those spikes were not as high as the spike we just saw recently. So think about that. Even when we were in some very, very, very bearish times in 2022, the spikes were not nearly as high as recent. So that kind of shows you, right? Man, people, there's just a lot of paper hands. Let's just say it that way. There's a lot of paper hands. Don't be one of them. Realize that these big boys, like I said, are buying and buying and buying. I mean, here's another example. Okay. Bears, no, I'm saying bulls. I mean, bulls with over 1,000 Bitcoin in their wallet, what are they doing? They're buying. That's why the number ends is skyrocketing. There are a lot of not just institutional players, but whales that keep on stocking up all day long. So go with the whales. Go with the big boys. Do what they're doing. Don't fall for the FUD, and don't do what the retail paper hands are doing, right? That's how you guarantee yourself a loss. All right. Now, as for this very important, very shocking chart that was posted by ARK, okay, Yazin posted this. Bitcoin's hash rate, all-time high at 500 exahashes this month. To highlight the enormity of this number, for every star in our galaxy, the Bitcoin network is calculating 5 billion computations per second. It would take approximately 2,000 years for an entire global population, each one performing 1 hash per second, to match Bitcoin's hash rate. The Bitcoin network performs 67 times more hashes per second than there are grains of sand on Earth. By number of raw operations second, Bitcoin is approximately 500x more performant than the world's most powerful supercomputer. Yet there are skeptics out there that believe that Bitcoin is backed by nothing. And then Elon says, wow, it blew his mind. It blows my mind too. That's how amazing the Bitcoin network is. That's why it's the most secure computing network we have on the planet, because it's impossible to hack. There's no central point to hack. Okay? And it keeps on getting stronger as the miners keep bringing up more mining machines and adding to their mining farms. It's one of the most boringest metric you can measure Bitcoin with. Everyone wants to just measure in price. But this is fundamentally why Bitcoin will never go away. Because the network is the strongest that we have and arguably the most decentralized one that we have. And here's the kicker, price always follows the hash rate. When it comes to Bitcoin, the price trails the hash rate. So as long as the hash rate keeps on going up, price is going to go up and it's going to catch up eventually. That's how it works for Bitcoin. The miners know not to worry about the price. They will continue to secure the network, continue to mine Bitcoin. But for every other crypto out there, it's exactly the opposite. The price always, well, I should say this, the hash trails the price for every other crypto out there except Bitcoin. Think about that. So, will this make Elon think again about Bitcoin and about accepting Bitcoin? He did recently say that SpaceX still holds a large amount of Bitcoin. Tesla still holds a small amount of Bitcoin, but decent. He himself still holds Doge and Bitcoin. But when is he going to allow Bitcoin as payment once again? He's been waiting for Bitcoin to be 50% green, and we have already surpassed that. So it's just a matter of time. Great. And as for what's going on with Bitcoin right now, like I said, don't fall for the FUD. Been saying that for a long time. Some people choose to hear it. Some people choose to ignore it. Okay, there will be FUD. There will be normal dips. Let's just not pretend like everything is due to FUD, but definitely a lot of it is due to FUD. But there will be normal dips every single cycle. There are dips. It happens every single cycle. Not only that, it happens more so in a parabolic bull run. That's right. In a bull run, you see more of these gigantic dips than in, of course, crypto winter, when everything is just stale and stagnant and there's no movement, right? So keep that in mind. But there are a lot of patterns that show that we're just mimicking previous cycles. We're doing exactly the same thing as previous cycles. Right before the halving event, there may be a little dip, and then what happens afterwards? That's when you get the parabolic bull run. So definitely do not be scared out. Don't let all the big boys take all of our Bitcoins, okay? You don't want that to happen. You gotta accumulate some for yourself. And it's not just Bitcoin. There's a lot of others to accumulate. So actually, after Bitcoin, starting now, I want to talk a little bit about oracles because a lot of people love oracles. A lot of people love Chainlink. So speaking of the whales, I showed you guys all these whale activity on Bitcoin, all these institutional players getting involved. But there are definitely a lot of whales that are buying outside of Bitcoin too, like Chainlink. There's a whale that just loaded up on $8 million worth of Chainlink. And he's not the only one. Here's another one that just loaded up $5 million worth of Chainlink at the local bottom 1474, which if you look at Chainlink now is 15 something, so he's ready in the green. But my point is this, a lot of big whales, they love Chainlink. They love Chainlink. That's why I love Chainlink, but it's not because the whale activity, it's because Chainlink is just such a dominant powerhouse. If you look at the overall value secure of all oracles, okay, Chainlink is a dominant powerhouse, 47%. And I argue they're actually more like 80%. And here's the reason. You have two others, one called Chronicle, one called Wink, that no one's ever heard of before, okay? And why are they so large? And I was looking it up, like what is Chronicle and what is WinkLink? Chronicle is what MakerDAO uses internally. Now, MakerDAO has an enormous amount of DAI, so basically they just threw all their DAI in there, and it's calculating that they own 21% of the Oracle market share, when in fact they only secure their own DAI token. So That's not even, that shouldn't even be registered. Same thing with Wink. Wink is like a Tron thing for one of their products called Just Lend, which I don't believe. I don't believe anything from Tron. I think it's all fake numbers. Eventually, Tron is all going to collapse. So that is also fake. So if you take that 40% and you add it on to Chainlink's 47%, they're like at 90%. Okay, that's what they control. And if you click into Chainlink, you'll realize every single big DeFi company that exists, Aave, Compound, Liquidity, Synthetic, GMX, DYDX, right? You go down the list. Every single one that you're used to using, okay, is using Chainlink. Every single one. That's why I've always said Chainlink is probably the most important project there is, because if Chainlink goes down, every single DeFi project pretty much goes down with it. So Chainlink is definitely a powerhouse. I think they're going to do well this year and this entire cycle. They have been doing very well. That's why they're already up to, you know, top 12. They may be moving in top 10 soon. Okay, so want to lead off with Chainlink. Whales are loading up, but there is another competitor that's actually doing decently well versus Chainlink. Well, if you exclude Chronicle and Wink, who else is left? Well, the next one left is Pyth. And you can see they have 144 protocols secured already. They're at 2 billion TVL or TVS. So obviously trails Chainlink by a lot. But Pyth is making moves ever since they airdropped their tokens, right? And they are using Solana. They're very close. They're not on Solana, but they're using Solana's code base. But so they're very integrated. But nevertheless, I mean, they are a Chainlink competitor, one of the serious ones out there that's doing quite well, right? They're always onboarding new chains, just like Chainlink. Not only chains, but also new dApps as well. In fact, they have, you could see their growth since the beginning of January of 2023. They integrated 92 dApps, and as of December of 2023, they have 286. So they are definitely growing by leaps and bounds right now. Okay, and they are on 49 chains. Started again the year at 11. Now they're up to 49. And overall stakers, holders, followers, Discord members are all going up. So as for like a secondary Oracle play, if you think Chainlink, you may have enough or it's already too big, you want something a little bit with a little bit more potential, Pyth is definitely another one to look at. Okay, they're going to do, I think, well too. Now, in addition to this, there is a new kid on the block that just came out from another project that's been out for a while, and that's UMA. UMA is, it's a universal market access protocol, which means that they create a lot of synthetic markets of real world assets, okay, and equities that you can't normally trade because of country restrictions. So basically, they're like a big synthetic finance company, or a project, I should say. But they recently pumped up to the moon because they're about to open their Oval Oracle network. In fact, I think they already launched it. So that's why there's some TVL already. But their Oracle network basically is another competitor to Pyth and Chainlink, right? But they say theirs is better because they have this MEV solution that all these DeFi projects, these lending protocols could use, and it'll help them save a lot of money and recoup a lot of money. I don't know technically how it works, but they are something else to pay attention to. They are growing, and they're much cheaper than even Pyth and Chainlink. So UMA, another competitor to look at. All right, that's pretty much it. A couple announcements before I do Q&A. Number one is right after this, in about 30 minutes, there will be another chart storm from Noah on Cryptosaurus Plus. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you check it out. And tomorrow I'll have my Sunday walk video too. In case you realize that, hey, you're not seeing my Sunday walk videos, they're on Cryptos Rust Plus. So make sure you subscribe after you watch this so you can watch both of these videos. And then lastly, there is a conference I'm going to be hosting, a mixer, a network mixer. Okay, we finally solidified it. I've been having these, I had many of them in 2023. In case you guys are in the Orlando area or Florida area or any area where you just want to attend a new conference called the World Web3 Conference. It's going to be held in Orlando, March 8th, March 9th, right before spring break. I'll be hosting their mixer, but also I'll be helping bring a lot of great projects and speakers and KOLs to the event. So overall, I'm going to be kind of like helping them jumpstart this conference. So if you guys are interested, then check it out. I have the ticket link in my description. Okay. So I think by March of 2024, which is 1 month right before having event, things are going to get exciting once again. So just to throw it out there, if you guys want to attend a nice conference and meet me and also meet others in the space in the mixer, this could be a good one to go to. And plus it's warm weather, Florida, Orlando, not like the Midwest or East Coast. It's just freezing to death. All right, let's do some Q&A. Alrighty. Hey, 4,000 people on a Saturday isn't too bad. Usually Saturdays, everyone's doing their thing, but it's still so cold out there. So cold. All right. Alexandre, just saw your comment above. I'm not going to repeat it. Is 40K a good entry? Sure. 41K is a good entry. 42 is a good entry. 43 is a good entry. How many Bitcoins, how does Bitcoin's network, this is from Tony, stay secure after last Bitcoin mined and there's no need for miners anymore? You still need to have nodes. There are Bitcoin nodes that will secure the network because they're the ones processing the transactions. So after all the blocks are mined, basically then you'll switch to nodes where they're just processing the transactions. So there will be a way. We just won't be around to see it because that is approximately, I think 2140 is when the last Bitcoin will be mined. Myro to the moon. Myro has been doing very well. It's one of the ones that's been holding. It hasn't formed a new high, but it has been holding despite the market downturn. So that's actually pretty impressive. Even with Bonk, they've been going down a lot, but they've been holding. So good for Myro. Chainlink is performing well. I just talked about Chainlink. They're holding a 9 billion market cap. That's not bad. That's not bad at all. And they're up today, 6%. Chainlink is just such a powerhouse. Sometimes they're just so boring. I always warn this. Sometimes they're boring, but they're so needed in the space. They're like one of the most important projects in all of crypto, and people don't realize that. George, come on, man. You got us hyped up for this cock in you. You left it out. Speaking of leaving it out, I heard that Snoop Dogg was offered by OnlyFans, offered $100 million to leave it out or to whip it out. And he denied it because he said his wife doesn't want that. Imagine being paid or offered $100 million to whip it out. I would take that embarrassment. $100 million. What car are you getting next? I don't know. I really don't know. Like right now, I'm so busy, I never even drive. Like I don't even have any time to enjoy anything outside of crypto and everything I'm doing. Um, will there be free food at a mixer? There'll be free drinks. There'll be little cocktail food, you know, like the hors d'oeuvres and appetizers, but not a full dinner. What's your prediction for Arbitrum long term? I think it's going to do well. Arbitrum and Optimism are basically locked. They're locked in to form new highs. It's almost guaranteed. They are leading L2 way, and I don't think that's going to stop. Although there are other L2s, but they're just like they're the leaders. Their TVL is enormously huge. Crypto Casper says, I just want to say after 3 years of DCA, I finally own one Bitcoin. Congratulations. You know, for a lot of people that may not be a lot, but if you think about it, you have one Bitcoin. That's worth 41,600. You know, for most people, that means you're approximately put in like 15,000. Yeah, 14,000 per year. Most people don't have 14,000 or even 10,000 spare cash to put into Bitcoin, right? They don't. But obviously you've been buying it cheaper, so it was a little bit less than that, but still. That's why I think people get too used to the price. They don't realize the gravity of the price themselves. You tell any normal person out there, anyone in the middle class, even if they're making six figures, well into six figures, you tell them to pull out 42,000 out of their bank account to go buy one Bitcoin, they will say they can't. They can't afford it. Because even people making well into six figures, most of them are living paycheck to paycheck. They have a ton of debt. They can't afford to buy one Bitcoin. So if you get one Bitcoin, no matter what price it's at, it's impressive. It's very impressive. So congrats. Shady, wouldn't you do it for 100 million? I think you would. 100 million? 100 million solves a lot of problems. Nate, I was wondering if you can give your opinion on OVR, AR, VR project. They have quite nice development with Apple Vision Pro coming up. You know, I think Apple Vision Pro would be the biggest flop in Apple's history. No one's going to be paying $3,500 for that garbage. It's not that much better than Oculus for $500. And they're not charging double. They're charging almost like tenfold. So Apple Vision Pro is going to be a big garbage. And anything that's building on top of it will be basically wasting their time, in my opinion. That Apple's starting to not do so well. I don't know if you guys noticed. Their recent quarterlies have not been doing well. They've been losing. I mean, they haven't been losing money, but their revenue has been going down. They're running out of ideas to sell products to people. And a $3,500 VR glasses, which no one likes to wear anyways, is going to be the biggest flop in their history. Anyways, but as for OVR, people have asked me about it before. AR, VR, just not my thing. I just don't think they'll ever catch on. AR eventually catch on, but not in a way that we know it today. It's just annoying. Even if you use your phone and do like AR around you, do you see anyone doing that? I never see anyone doing that. No one wants to take the time to do AR with their phone. And putting on glasses walking around is even more cumbersome. Which one do you think is better, Link, Stacks, or Say? Well, Link is a blue chip. You can't really compare it. Stacks, I think, will do very well because of Bitcoin development. And Say, I think, will do very well too. So I can't really choose which one's better. I think they're all different. My videos are always 50% lower volume. I don't think that's right. I mean, I'm looking at my OBS. My volume is pretty high. If I turn it too high, there'll be distortion sometimes. Yeah, you would do it. Green Thanos says, "Oh yeah, George, for 100 million, I'm not I'm not gonna repeat that." Jason, your thoughts on all-time high potential of Casper during this bull run? I don't know. I don't follow Casper that much, so I can't really say what it's going to do. It could do very well. They have a very loyal fan base. So, yeah. Yeah, Apple has lost revenue for last 3 quarters. Yeah, it's the first time I think in their history they lost revenue for 3 times in a row. Robert, heard the years. What? Robert, are you like drunk already? Are you going to support Kulo theory out the bull? If so, 100 million. Okay. You sound like you're completely drunk, man. But I think what you're asking is, am I going to support Kulo until the bull run? Yes. But you need to sober up, man. Everyone expecting a dump usually does the opposite. Yes. What do you think will happen to alts if labeled a security? Well, some of them have been labeled security. They still continue to move forward. Some will pay a fine and be done with it, mostly because they had like initial coin offering, ICO. Some will be shut down, but like right now, the SEC is trying to battle this. They don't want to sue every single project. They want to just label everything as security based on this really outdated 100-year-old Hui test, which doesn't even really apply to a lot of things that they're arguing about. That's why the Coinbase lawsuit is important. The Ripple one is important, right? It just makes it that much harder for SEC to deem something as security rather than just like blanket label everything as security. Beam of Black. Thoughts on being the GOAT? I don't know if I consider myself the GOAT, but if you do, I appreciate that. I do. Tiger Paul from Australia. Do I still like Phantom? You know what? I gotta say I like Phantom less now than before. And the reason being, the competition is a lot more fierce. Phantom had their day in 2021. They were one of the only promising L2s out there, but they were never able to really capture much of the market. Now the other L2s that are utilizing ETH, like Arbitrum and Optimism, and then you got a few others out there, and there's other L1s that have gotten so strong. I don't know how they're going to compete. I'm still rooting for them. They're still, they're still decently big, but I don't know how they're going to compete with the sea of L1s and L2s out there now. You know what? I just got Apple TV last night because I've been seeing all these shows and movies on Apple TV being clipped on TikTok, and I'm like, I had enough, so I signed it. Last night I watched Tetris movie. Okay, you would figure Tetris movie would be the boringest movie ever made. But it's actually really, really good. For those of you guys that have Apple TV, check it out if you haven't. It starts out really fast and you think, oh, okay, the movie's over. But no, like, if that's based on a true story, everything the guy had to do to get Tetris into Game Boys on Nintendo was mind-boggling. Like, he had balls of steel, and he had to keep pushing. Like, that's what it takes to be an entrepreneur sometimes. I have not watched Ted Lasso, and then there's another one, the Justin Timberlake one. I think that's supposed to be pretty good. I think a lot of the Apple TV stuff is good. I never subscribed to it before, so first time. I agree. Sol will hit 500 to 600. I think it'll hit 1,000 by the end of this year. I think it could hit 1,000. We'll see. Solama is the next Myro. I don't know about that. I was looking at the other memes, okay? Besides Kulo, which is still doing very well. Kulo is still at 4.25 million. But I was looking at the other memes on, because I'm a degen, I'm just always looking at new memes. I was looking at this. I think Myra could have potential. I'm not sure yet because it's kind of still low. A lot of these, again, they don't really have the traction, so they could just like dump at any time. But like Myra, because of Myro, could maybe do well. I don't know. Just speculating. But I still think Kulo will do very well. It's just slow moving because it's on Polygon, but as more and more people pay attention to it, I think it's going to do well. Jose, can AVAX be able to hold a price and be a good chain for the future? And now Murai is pushing PGX for Guild Tech. You think it'll gain momentum? I think overall, yes. Yes. I like AVAX a lot. Games, had a big push in October and November, and AVAX saw a huge jump because of it. I think games will come back this year when they get that momentum. Avalanche will benefit from it because they're a really large gaming chain, even though it seems like they're not, but they are. Toshi is the biggest meme coin on Base. Thoughts? I don't really pay attention to Base chain. I don't. Maybe I should, but I just don't see a lot of momentum on Base right now. And plus, without a token, it just makes it really boring. Like, ultimately, all of us, right, are looking for coins to buy so that we can make money with them. But Base does not have a token. So it's kind of like, it sucks. Shiba Dead project. It's not dead. It's probably going to get weaker and weaker over time, and then it'll blow up in 2025, just like before. It'll probably end up doing that and get back to its previous high. But think about it. A lot of the momentum have shifted to other memes, which will probably do a SHIB in 2025. So SHIB itself maybe is not going to be that hot this time. I think they'll have their day, but I don't know if they're going to surpass their previous high. There might be a chance they don't even get back to the previous high because of the strength in other memes. That's always a consideration too. What happened to Pepe? I feel like Pepe just killed himself, seriously. When people want to get into meme, they don't want to hear about founders fighting and hacks happening and stuff. That's exactly what happened to Pepe. It wasn't a hack, it's disagreement among founders. They changed the requirement to withdraw. Like, they needed 8 confirmation or 8 signatures. They changed it to 3. And then half of it was taken because, some founders wanted to cash out and all that stuff. And now they're trying to rebuild from that. They just kind of like shot themselves in both feet. Sheeb needs to burn 99%, get some big partnerships. Well, they have Shibarium. That's what they're trying to do. They're trying to get people to come on board Shibarium so they could burn a lot of sheep. But that's just, it doesn't seem like that's happening. Nat, I appreciate it. DVD? No. Hemule? I mean, what kind of name is that? Hemule. Not gonna look at that. Sandbox. I don't know. I don't like it. I don't like it. Metaverses, like Sandbox, Decentraland, Cornucopia. I think they're going to have their day, but I just don't. It's not for me. I'd rather play games than be hanging out in a metaverse. That's just me. But who knows? Maybe people do like them. All right, guys, I gotta go. I'll let you have your Saturday back. But just know this, to conclude, don't let these guys who already control 10% of Bitcoin. Okay, remember this is at 21 million, and we are not at 21 million. So they're like 10%. Don't let these guys take all of your Bitcoin away. Okay, don't do it. Don't do it. That's what they want you to do. They want you to panic sell to them. Don't do it to them. Make sure you grab as much as you can while you still can, because these guys are not going to stop. All right, smash it a like, subscribe to the channel. Make sure you head over to Cryptos R Us Plus. Chart Storm video is coming up in 5 minutes. And my Sunday walk video will be there tomorrow too. And then if you want to check out the TWC conference, make sure you hit the link in the description of this video. All right, have a good one, guys. Take care. Bye-bye.